Hello everyone, and welcome. For this explainer, we're diving deep into a topic that's central to our Anglais Monde Contemporain course, and really to the world we live in. We're talking about diversity. So, what is it that makes diversity such a powerful strength, but also sometimes a real source of conflict and tension?
Let's just kick things off with a question. I want you to really think about this for a second. We're often told that fairness means treating everyone exactly the same. But is that really always true? Is it always the most just thing to do? Keep that question rattling around in your head as we go through this.
So why are we talking about this now? Well, this whole discussion fits perfectly into your AMC program. We're in Theme 2, Diversity and Inclusion, and we're focusing specifically on the axis of the plurality of cultures and identities. Basically, we're trying to get a handle on all the different identities and cultures that make up our modern English-speaking world.
And that brings us to our main mission for today, our guiding question. How can cultural diversity be this amazing source of strength, but at the same time, a real point of tension? We're going to unpack that. First, we'll get some key definitions straight, and then we'll look at how these ideas play out in a real-life scenario. Okay, so to answer that big question properly, we need the right tools in our toolbox. So for this first part, we're going to define two really important concepts. Honestly, these are essential for a good analysis, but people mix them up all the time. First up, we have equality. Now, the official definition sounds a bit complicated, but the core idea is simple. Equality is all about sameness. It means everyone gets the exact same thing, the same treatment, no matter where they're starting from. And here's our second key concept, equity. This is where it gets a little more nuanced. See, equity isn't about sameness, it's about fairness. It starts by recognizing a really important fact. We don't all begin at the same starting line. Equity takes into account that some groups have faced disadvantages, and it suggests that to get a truly fair result, you might actually have to treat people differently. This chart here makes the difference so clear. In the equality column, it's all about sameness, giving everyone the same tools. The big problem? It assumes everyone is starting from the same place. But then look at equity. It focuses on fairness. It knows the playing field isn't level, and so it gives people the specific tools they need to succeed. So here's the key takeaway. Equality is about giving everyone the same thing. Equity is about making sure everyone has the same opportunity to succeed. It's a huge difference. All right, now that we've got those concepts down, let's put them to work. We're going to dive into a case study from our source document. It's set in an American history class, and it's the perfect place to see these ideas of equality and equity in action, or not in action. So here's the situation. A teacher decides to do a role-playing exercise on westward expansion. Sounds okay, right? But for one student, Jeremy, who is from the Lakota Nation, this isn't just a fun game. His living, breathing culture is suddenly being turned into a simplistic stereotype. His father makes it clear in the text that this felt incredibly disrespectful.
Now for the baccalaureate, it is absolutely crucial that you can analyze a situation from multiple viewpoints. So let's break this down. From Jeremy's perspective, this is confusing and hurtful. For the teacher, well, maybe she had good intentions, but her method completely failed. The other students, they just turned a complex history into a joke. And finally, the father sees this as the school failing to create a safe and respectful environment for his son. Being able to see all these different angles is a top-level skill.
Okay, so we understand the situation, we see the different perspectives, but how do you take all of that and build it into a really strong, clear argument for your exams? Well, that's exactly what we're going to cover now, the method.
I'm going to give you a super useful tool. It's called the PEE method. Point, evidence, explain. It's simple, but it's so effective for structuring your paragraphs. First, you make your point, your main idea, in one clear sentence. Next, you back it up with evidence, a specific example or a quote from the text. And finally, the most important part, you explain how your evidence proves your point and connect it back to the big ideas of the theme. And here's a perfect example of PEE in action. The point, teaching methods that ignore diversity can backfire and create stereotypes. The evidence, the students joking about scalping. And here's the brilliant explanation. It connects everything back to our key concept. This whole situation was a failure of equity. The teacher treated everyone the same, but in this context, that wasn't fair. It actually caused harm. Now, let's zoom out. What happened in that classroom isn't just about one teacher making a bad call. It actually points to a much bigger idea in education and society, something we call the hidden curriculum. So what is the hidden curriculum? It's all the things you learn at school that aren't written down in the textbook. It's the unspoken messages. It's about what stories get told, but also what stories get ignored. It sends these subtle signals about whose culture is considered normal and whose is considered other. And it makes you wonder, right? When we use a phrase like the discovery of America, what message is that sending? Whose perspective are we centering and whose are we erasing?
All right, we've looked at our key concepts, we've analyzed our case study. Now it's time to pull it all together and figure out what our main conclusions are.
So if you're going to remember 3 things from this, make it these. First, real inclusion is not about equality. It's about equity. Second, schools are incredibly powerful places where identities can either be supported or, sadly, misrepresented. And finally, for your own work, always look for those multiple perspectives and the hidden messages.
So, let's return to our guiding question from the very beginning. How can diversity be both a strength and a tension? Well, I think we have our answer. Diversity becomes a huge strength when a society practices equity, when it actively values and adapts to different cultures. But it becomes a source of tension when those identities are ignored, or worse, turned into stereotypes, just like what happened to Jeremy.
And I'll just leave you with one final question to think about, something that connects to other themes in your AMC course. We've talked about a classroom, but what about our digital world? How do these exact same issues of representation, stereotypes, of a hidden curriculum, how do they show up on social media, in movies, and in video games? That's definitely something worth exploring.